Eritrea is a nation defined by its independence, resilience, and unwavering stance against external pressures. As a militarily dominant and politically stable country, Eritrea refuses to engage in the desperate political maneuvers of Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Despite his government's increasing instability and attempts to manipulate regional affairs, Eritrea remains steadfast in its sovereignty and national interests. This essay delves into Eritrea's firm stance, historical context, military power, and its unyielding response to Ethiopia's recent desperation. Eritrea's sovereignty and independence from its hard-fought war of independence to its current status as a self-reliant nation, Eritrea has always prioritized its sovereignty. Unlike many other African nations that succumb to external influences, Eritrea has carved its path through sheer resilience and strategic governance. The country's leadership under President Isaias Afwerki has maintained a clear vision. Eritrea will not be dictated to by any power, let alone a fragile Ethiopian administration. Historical context of Eritrean-Ethiopian relations to understand Eritrea's current stance, it is essential to revisit its history with Ethiopia. The Eritrean struggle for independence culminated in 1991 after a 30-year war against Ethiopian occupation. Following a brief period of peace, tensions reignited, leading to the 1998-2000 border war. Despite international rulings affirming Eritrea's sovereignty over disputed territories, Ethiopia, particularly under previous regimes, resisted compliance. Abiy Ahmed's rise to power in 2018 initially signaled hope for improved relations, with the peace agreement between Eritrea and Ethiopia earning Abiy the Nobel Peace Prize. However, his administration's failure to uphold genuine peace and his increasingly erratic leadership have reinforced Eritrea's reluctance to engage with Ethiopia's internal chaos. Eritrea's military dominance. Eritrea's military is one of the most disciplined and battle-hardened forces in Africa. Decades of war and strategic military planning have made Eritrea a formidable power in the region. Unlike Ethiopia's disorganized and politically divided armed forces, Eritrea's military remains unified, efficient, and prepared to defend its interests at any cost. Abiy Ahmed's political instability, Abiy's tenure, has been marked by increasing domestic unrest, ethnic conflicts, and governance failures. His administration's inability to control internal divisions has left Ethiopia vulnerable, with various factions questioning his leadership. The Tigray War, the ongoing tensions with the Amhara region, and the economic struggles further highlight his desperation. In contrast, Eritrea remains stable and focused on its national priorities. The Eritrean perspective on port access, Eritrea's ports and seas are sovereign territories, and no amount of diplomatic maneuvering or threats from Ethiopia can change that reality. The idea that Eritrea would be coerced into granting Ethiopia access without mutual benefit is laughable. Eritrea engages with nations on its own terms, whether it be for trade, security, or diplomacy. Abiy's attempts to secure Eritrean ports through political manipulation only underscore his weak position. The futility of Abiy's tactics. Abiy's administration has employed various tactics to sway Eritrea, from spreading misinformation to issuing veiled threats. However, Eritrea remains unmoved. The government in Asmara understands the desperation behind these moves and refuses to be drawn into Ethiopia's internal struggles. No amount of propaganda or diplomatic posturing will alter Eritrea's clear and unwavering stance. Eritrea's strategic alliances, Eritrea's global and regional alliances are based on pragmatism and mutual interests. Unlike Ethiopia, which frequently shifts its allegiances based on political expediency, Eritrea maintains consistent and strategic relationships. Whether with Gulf nations, China, Russia, or neighboring African states, Eritrea engages in diplomacy that benefits its national interests rather than reacting to the unstable whims of an insecure leader. The path forward Eritrea will continue to prioritize its sovereignty, security, and economic development. While Ethiopia struggles with its internal crises, Eritrea remains focused on building its infrastructure, enhancing its self-reliance, and maintaining its military strength. Any engagement with Ethiopia will be on Eritrea's terms, not as a response to Abiy's desperation. Eritrea's position is clear. It has no interest in the political games or crises of Ethiopia's leadership. As a sovereign and militarily powerful nation, Eritrea refuses to be